An easy and common mistake that occurs on a lot of shoots is that settings get changed and no one notices. That's why it's really important that even when you're locked in and you have all your settings figured out at the beginning of the day, that throughout the day, throughout the shoot, you're checking those settings almost all the time. This can be anything from the white balance to the ISO, to the aperture, to the shutter, to the picture profile, to the resolution. There's so many different settings on cameras, and at any point in the day, maybe the camera gets reset, maybe it gets turned off improperly, maybe someone else touches it, maybe it gets used for a different scene with different settings, and then you go back to a previous scene and you want to go back to the old settings. You have to check the settings always, 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 always. Now, I'm certainly guilty of this. I'm sure many other people are, but things happen, right? You're rushing, there's things that need to happen, and you're trying to be quick and efficient, and something gets missed. That's like the worst thing that can happen because you never know exactly what it is. Maybe it's a small thing, like the shutter gets bumped 1 degree. Okay, not a big deal. But maybe the white balance gets radically changed and you don't notice it. That's a big problem. Maybe you film in the wrong frame rate or the wrong resolution. Big problem. So you have to check the settings. Oftentimes people can just get into kind of autopilot mode and they have the camera, they set it up at the beginning of the day or whenever they do it, and they're ready to roll, and they think that it's locked, it's solid. And this is even more important if there's multiple cameras, because someone else could change another camera and now it doesn't match the A camera and the B camera's wrong. A lot can go wrong, and it's not a good situation, especially for when that stuff gets brought into post-production and adds more time to the editor's workflow, to the colorist workflow. Just these are bad problems all around, and it's such a simple thing. Just check those camera settings. It's a small thing, like I said, really easy to overlook, but it's also really easy to do. Just make sure the display's on, give everything a glance over, make sure you're not in like autofocus when you want to be in manual or vice versa. Make sure a stabilizer isn't turned on. There's so many little switches and buttons that can get hit. It's very easy for something like that to happen, and I know a lot of times people come back from shoots and it's a huge mistake. I mean, this can even be something like an external screen recorder. You can output the information from the camera to that screen, but if you hit record and all that information is on the screen, all of that's baked into the footage on that external recorder. This actually happened to a couple people that I know, so don't let it happen. Small things, but if you're always aware of checking those settings and checking to make sure that everything's okay, you really should be paranoid about it. That's the level at which you need to do, especially if your job is camera op or you're in charge of the camera department. Make sure those settings are exact, because you never want to get in autopilot mode and get lazy and then it ruins the whole shoot after the fact. That's a bad situation to be in, because oftentimes you can't reshoot, and if you can reshoot, it can be quite expensive. So always, always, always check those settings.